6 days out then. Second day of depletion and food time again. Basically same time you joined me yesterday. I had a meal already and now I'm coming on to meal 2. So this is what it's looking like. Looks familiar to yesterday, doesn't it? That's because it's damn near the fucking same. So yeah, it's just mixed veg. I think it's about 100 grams of chicken, some avocado. One of these bad boys going with it. If you haven't had one of these before, the My Protein Carb Crushers, they're the nuts. Get them. Then off to train pull and triceps. Get that done this afternoon. I've got a few bits of work that I'm just finishing up. The online coaching stuff. Get that done. And yeah, I've got my walk again later tonight. What I'll probably try and do is film a little bit kind of with the whiteboard and make this more of a proper event and show you kind of how the week's kind of like panning out, what I'm planning and what might change, and kind of the general structure I suppose I'm trying to follow. But anyway, I've got to eat that. So I'll see you in the gym. Guys, in this part of the video I thought I'll just show you kind of exactly how peak week's panning out for me in the sense of like calories, training, and give you a visual so you know exactly how things are looking. Alright, so if you're not competing, some of this might still be relevant for you. If you've got like a holiday or a date you're building up to, you can kind of take the same kind of approach that I'm taking, maybe not quite to the extreme. But the same model still checks out if you want to kind of look your best on that certain day, kind of like 7 days out from whatever you're after. So if we go from the start of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're what I've referred to as my depletion days. So what we're Tuesday today, and on these days I'm looking to stay nice and low carb, so we're down to 150 down to 100 and 100. So that's pretty damn low for me, low for most people to be honest. But the idea there is we want to bring the carbohydrates down, deplete the body of glycogen, and in turn keep fats kind of moderate to where they have been, not too much change in there. And protein pretty much where it's been as well, at the 180 to 200 mark. I tend to have that on a bit of a sliding scale, just depending on satiety. If I want some extra food, that's where it's going to come from without kind of inhibiting my results too much. Now, Thursday, Friday is where it gets a bit more fun and I feel like I'm alive again. These are my carb up days. So on these days I'm looking to bump my carbs right up to 400 on both. And to kind of counteract that a little bit in the sense of like calorie input, I'll pull my fats right down as low as I can go, as close to kind of like well, as close to nothing as I can get, I guess. It's the only time I'm going to look to go that low on fats. Like, you don't really want to go super low fat like for too long without kind of risking problems hormonally and whatnot, but for those couple of days, not a problem. And then protein will be dropped very slightly as well. Again, same kind of thing as the fat, just to make room for those extra carbs so that my calories aren't too high. Like, the calories on Thursday and Friday will be slightly higher anyway. I think closer to kind of like between 2.3, 2.4 and 2.5, as in like 2,200 to 300 to right up to 2,500, depending on the exact numbers on the day. Whereas Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, my calories are right down kind of the 1,700, 1,800 mark. So a little bit of kind of extra calories going in there. Depending on how I'm looking after Friday, when I wake up on the Saturday, will depend on what I do with my food. Both on the Saturday being the day before the show, and Sunday, which is the day of the show. So basically, putting my carbs in here allows me a little bit of breathing space on the Saturday and the Sunday. I won't be on stage until later in the day. So typically people will either put all their carbs right before, but then it leaves you no room if things go a bit tits up, or they'll front load right at the beginning of the week and then try and maintain that fullness through the week. For me, I like to go somewhere in the middle, hence going Thursday, Friday. That's not a big carb load by any means, but I know it makes a difference for me. Some people just go fucking nuts and load up like 1,000 grams 2-3 days in a row. That's not going to do me any good in my past experience. I just will not do well on that many carbs. Even just digestively, it won't feel good. So that's where the nutrition's at. Like I say, Saturday, Sunday, to be decided, depending on how we're looking. The interesting ones that, well, aren't very interesting in my sense, water, sodium and micronutrients generally. Potassium sometimes gets fucked about with. Like, for me, that's super consistent, both of them, all the way through the week. Being a natural competitor means you're not going to get kind of much bang for your buck when it comes to manipulating those. And it's a fucking shitstorm, to be honest with you, trying to get those things kind of right to get any kind of benefit. Whereas if it goes wrong, it can go really fucking wrong. So leaving it be. Dehydration doesn't appeal to me. Like, I tried it when I very first did the competition stuff, and yeah, it ain't fun. And even worse, like, or the worst bit of it is like, if you're a bit dehydrated getting on stage, you feel a bit fucked anyway. And if you throw dehydration on top of that, like, you'll cramp, you'll feel even more lightheaded, like, you won't pose well, you won't look like you're having any fun. So it kind of goes against like the benefit of doing it, if there is any benefit. So yeah, they're staying super consistent. And the last thing is training. So training on these 3 depletion days, I think we had it I think Monday was the last lower body, or it might have been Sunday, sorry, was the last lower body. So we're kind of alternating through push, pull, with some accessory stuff. You'll have seen it kind of in the videos I've been putting up, or the clips of the training. When those carbs start going in on Thursday and Friday, still push-pull. Like, here we're looking at kind of 70-80% of my max capacity. Like, so we're training hard without kind of going maximal and breaking muscle down. We don't want the inflammation that comes with that. Thursday, Friday is more slightly higher reps again, so kind of the 15s, 20s, and intensity comes down even more, so maybe kind of 50-60% of kind of maximum capacity, just to move these carbs around the body, push them into the muscle where we want them. And then Saturday, totally off, chill out, feet up in the hotel, get my legs nice and smooth, get me tan, all that side of things. And then obviously Sunday, no training, bar, kind of pumping up the stage. So that's your peak week. That, like I say, you might use something like that if you're working up to a holiday at the end, if you're kind of giving yourself 7 days. Obviously, the leaner you are, the bigger the difference this can make. If you're fat, this will not make any difference. You need to focus on not being fat first. And then you can start manipulating things more so. Like, the less body fat you've got, the more the muscle shows through, then the bigger the impact if you go and then fill that muscle with glycogen and use this kind of depletion and load strategy. This ain't the only way to do it, this ain't the best way to do it, but this is the way that I choose to do it through my kind of trial and error and what I know that works quite well for me. So it's quite a conservative approach, but again, I'm better off being conservative than going fucking nutty and trying to like risk it all for, people always say like, why kind of risk looking 50% worse for the sake of looking like 2% better? So, and it checks out. So that's my approach anyway, guys. Any questions, let us know. I'll see you in the next bit.